Hi, guys. Welcome back to the What's on Your Mind podcast. This is your mental health haven. I'm your host, Victor Ollilo.
And I'm your host, Nassim Kata.
So, today, on our hot topic, we'd like to uncover trauma.
Trauma. The big T.
Yes, the bigger T. The big T ni ya udaku.
So the bigger T.
The bigger T.
Yes.
So, my name is Ollilo, and I brought the bowl.
Oh, yeah, the TikTok trend.
Yes. A penny for your thoughts, Nassim.
A penny for my thoughts. Trauma. So, my name is Nassim. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So, my name is Nassim. And when I was 6, I think, around 6 years old,
Yep.
I got my nose pierced. Not the septum, but the nose, the actual nose.
Yes.
I got it pierced when I was, I think, around 4 or 5 years. Nikwa nursery. Yes.
And something common within you, like your culture and everything, yeah?
Yes. And the reason I think I got it is because I was raised, in my family.
Yes.
My mom took in my cousins. So I had elder cousins and everything. So when they got their nose pierced, I asked for it.
Okay.
And I cried and they threw tantrums and everything. So I got it.
You got it, yes.
And then we transferred and went to Riru. Back then, Riru was more like a village. It wasn't as developed as right
As it is
now
now,
and
yes.
everything. Yes. So the school I went to, I remember our class teacher. Our class teacher used to tell people in class that the only, and I'll say it in Swahili, watu wenye tu wanakuwaga wametoboa mapua ni malaya.
Hey.
And I was in class 6. I was in class 1.
Yeah.
I was 6 years old. I didn't even understand what malaya was and everything. And now that was the start of a very, very traumatic experience, like a lower primary experience in that school.
So was this like a one-time thing, or was it something that was recurrent?
It was something that was recurrent. I also remember I used to have bangles from, my previous school and everything. And it's those bangles that you're given when you're young. And then they fit your hand. It's hard to remove and everything.
Yes.
And when I got into this school, they had not told my mom anything about the rules of the school or anything. So I remember I'd be called to the staff room to have my bangles removed by all the teachers. It was very traumatic.
Yeah.
And I used to also get beaten a lot. I remember the same teacher.
Yep.
Again, remember, I'm 6 years old.
Yep.
I don't know how to tell time or anything.
Yes.
I remember this one incident specific. I think I hadn't done my homework or something. And then she asked, Kwani, what time does your mom come home? And for me, I said, Sanane. In my mind, I knew Sanane. It's Samili.
Yes,
it's 8.
Yes.
It became a very big issue, talking. Now they started, she called another teacher to discuss that my mom comes home sanane ya usiku and everything. My mom was summoned to school and my mom came and was like, you do realize she doesn't know how to tell time.
Yeah. So she's just directly translating it into Kiswahili.
Yes. So such small things. And then now, I think there's a time now she beat me up. I went home, I had scars and everything. And my mom saw that. And my mom got really angry. So what my mom did, I feel like she might have overreacted.
Yes.
What she did, so what she did, she went, got a transfer letter for her. The letter wasn't signed, of course, but she got transfer letter for her from her, the headquarters in town and everything. And she was to be posted in those Akina Mandera
Those
and
remote areas.
But now it wasn't signed. So my mom, I think she did that just to threaten her. So she was like, I've taken a step. If I ever hear such a case again, this letter will be signed. So stay off my kid. And she left it. So I think she expected things would cool off, but now things became worse. So now what this teacher used to do is, let's say I'd make a mistake.
Yes.
But instead of punishing me, she'd punish the whole class.
No.
So what she used to do
that's honestly very sinister.
Yes. So what she used to do, and she used to state why. she'd say, no, this is through
Because
no
then
class two,
now,
class
now,
three.
now she's conditioning the rest of the
Yes.
class to hate you.
Exactly. So what she used to say is, unajua kuna watu wengine uko washikagwi ni mayai and everything. So as a result, class zima sasa, you'll have to
Bro,
pay for
no.
it. I'm telling you, it was so bad because I remember I used to get around, I think, 50 bob. And remember 50 bob back then was
Hey,
a lot of money.
You were balling.
I was balling. So what I
Hey,
used to
we're
do
sorry.
is I used to go buy zile koza sumuni.
Sumni.
And then I'd share with the class. I used to do this so that they can at least be nicer to me.
Yes.
I never even used to spend my pocket money because I remember I used to go back home. My mom is like, what did you do with your money and everything? I'm like, yes, I used to try buy the love. But it was, honestly, I won't lie to you, it was very traumatic. I'm even surprised I'd still go to school. It didn't stop me from going to school and everything. So that was very traumatic for me. And it also affected the way I interact with people to date and the way I relate to people in terms of friendships and everything. So yeah.
So I'm guessing now, first of all, actually, before anything else, I'm really sorry for what you had to go through. Because I can't imagine as a child having to go through all that. It's a whole lot of pressure because at that age, you're basically, you're so innocent. Your mind is just, I just need to go
I was still a baby.
I just need to go and learn what I need to learn and play. Those are
it was more of play
friends. And meet my friends.
I know.
Yes, the learning is, and then you have to really go through this. And, it makes me wonder, like, even what you went through and how she now conditioned their children, did you also now experience any kind of bullying or any change of
Yes, I did a lot. Like I said, we had just traveled. We had just moved. You had moved,
yes.
New area.
So you still have to adjust. You had to adapt to making new friends.
Yes, and I was raised in Nairobi.
Yes.
Like I was born in Nairobi. And everything.
Yes.
So when we went here, I didn't speak the language Kikuyu. In fact, I didn't even speak Meru.
Yeah.
So I remember there's this time they went and wrote kwacho. They insulted the headmaster with chalk and everything, and it was in Kikuyu because there were a lot of insults were in Kikuyu.
Yes.
But weird enough, it became the new girl. It's the new girl that did that. So there was a lot of series of such cases. It was so bad that it reached a point the headmaster himself had Mr. Kyoyu, wherever you are, man.
Bigger.
Yes. He had to call the teachers and sit them down. Not mainly all the teachers, but,
most of the affected ones.
Yes, and have a conversation with them about laying off and, And then also I feel like my parents used to drop me to school.
Yes. Hey. So you were the privileged child.
Yes, it seemed like that.
Yes.
And I've never tried to act that way or, make it seem that way or anything. But yeah, mainly it came from that. So I feel in their own way, it was a way of bringing me back to planet Earth or wherever. But anyway, it really affected me throughout, in the primary. It reached a point I had to transfer.
Hey, I'm sorry. Mine is actually on a whole different scale, and I think people don't realize it because it seemed very cutesy. So I was let me say I was a late bloomer. So I was, more often than not, I was always the smallest or among the smallest in my class, especially now as we moved on to upper primary. And in two different schools, in two different institutions, there were always, there were girls who were bigger than me. And they would, treat me like a kid, like, oh, he's so cute. And I had chubby cheeks. So they would really treat me like I was some stuffy toy.
Mm-hmm.
And now you see that also, for me, opened me up to also being bullied by the fellow guys. Yeah, where they're like, hey,
Bro.
and for them, you see, they never realized. And it really would affect me. It would affect even how I perceived myself, I viewed myself. So I never even had confidence to even, even like approach, especially someone of the opposite gender, all the way into high school. And now I developed like an issue with the word cute, where if someone in any way, shape, or form addressed me using the word cute, I would automatically snap.
Get angry.
Yeah. I'm like, don't tell me that. And you see, people didn't realize where it was coming from. And for them, perhaps it may have been innocent, but sometimes also I realize some of these actions that we do slowly have an eat-away effect, where it slowly erodes even your self-confidence, and you don't realize it.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think also trauma doesn't necessarily also have to come from a place like an quote-unquote negative action. Because sometimes it seems like I might be doing something that seems very innocent, but have you considered how this is affecting the other person? How is it shaping their personality? How is it shaping their character? So for you, let me just say, at what point did you come to realize that these things, these experiences you went through, now had affected you?
Okay, for me, later on in life, not just later on in life, because also in high school, in primary, I was being bullied by teachers. In high school, it was more of students. But then again, you know how mean. I was very tiny. I was very skinny. I think I was below 50 kgs.
Spring chicken.
Oh my goodness. I was really tiny.
Yes.
And
I know exactly what you
yes.
Yeah.
So in high school, as much as they were bullying me, I had built this sort of resilience. So I used to fight a lot in high school.
Really?
Yes. Because I remember when I transferred, I joined kickboxing, training. It was just for fun, and everything. But I realized I was only doing that so that maybe I can learn how to stand up for myself.
Yes.
So in high school, I used to fight a lot. My mom used to come for almost
she used to be someone
every
other time.
Yes, because I had this thought of, I'm not going to let you talk down to me or make me feel some type of way. Because at the end of the day, because I remember even in primary when I'd go crying to my mom and everything, mom used to ask me, umechapwa umekuchapa kwa mikono ngapi? Mbili. And she'd get angry because then why didn't you
you accepting?
Yes. So it made me learn how to stand up for myself.
Okay.
So as much as the girls tried bullying me in high school, it didn't work because we'd always fight.
Yes.
So it became, okay, so the only thing that they would do is spread lies, whatever, and it never used to bother me. It was so bad that I remember I used to have this boyfriend in high school.
High school?
Yes.
Okay.
They would write letters so the high school I went, I was in Form 1 at different high school, then I transferred Form 2 to another high school. So this high school I went to, I was a new girl there. Again, actually this new girl thing is hard. So I had this boyfriend. Paul, if you're watching this, hey.
Move on, Nassim. Move on.
I should move on. So yes. So Paul, he used to do sports and everything. I remember it was during this period of sports. I don't know why I'm smiling and laughing, but anyway. So the girls sat me down. Is that
your trauma response, Nassim? It's okay.
We will unpack this. So the girl sat me down to tell me about this Paul guy. How cute he is and everything. So of course when we went to Funky, I wanted to see who is this
cute
and Paul, then it happened to be I think we spent the day together and everything.
Yes.
The following day he wrote me a letter to school and everything. So we automatically became a couple.
Girl, yes.
So girls in my class wrote
Mean
him a letter.
girls, yes.
Wrote him a letter telling him he's wasting his time with me because I'm a lesbian. That's why I was expelled from his previous school and everything. So we meet again during Funky, and he asks me, is everything okay in school? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I've gotten this letter.
Hey.
And the girls had already signed off the letter, did
With
the
their names.
dates. Yes,
Hey.
did the dates and everything. I'm like, how dumb can you be?
Did they perfume it?
Of course. And it had those two kisses. You remember?
Oh, sorry. Gen Z, we are losing our
Yes,
Gen Z
we are
audience.
losing our Gen We used to do these things in high school where we'd write
The
letters.
equivalent of emojis.
But yes. So when I went back to school, I was like, what the fuck? But I didn't cause a drama or anything. But
Yes.
the bullying was in line of that. Because I also remember I used to have very long hair before I cut it off and put
Yes.
So people used to say I was boys were only interested because of the long hair, and I feel like maybe that's what made me cut off my hair after high school.
Because you associated with it something negative.
But anyway, so such small bullyings and everything, but it really didn't bother me in high school. Honestly, it didn't bother me at all, because if I would feel some type of way, I would square up. And that is also what got me into drawing. So every time I would feel out of place or something, I would put it into art. I even used to sell my art to students for 50 bob.
Oh, nice.
By the time tunaenda home nikadoya shopping.
Pocket money yako.
So for me, high school, honestly, it didn't bother me at all. Like the bullying and everything. And I had become aware of how life is. So I never used to associate friendship with something other than just school. Like, you get, I wouldn't be like, this is my best friend. Because I knew this week you'll be okay with me. Next week you'll start a rumor about me, or you'll, so. And then I was really sporty. I used to play a lot of games. I feel like I used to play almost all the games. So I used to go for funkies as often. The sports, captain was a friend of mine and whatnot. So they would even go tell her to kick me out of the list and whatnot. It was really bad, but it didn't, like that bullying for high school, they should have done better. What I feel like really hurt me was the primary one, because that was done by adults.
But it's such a foundation.
Yeah.
Yep.
But other than that, the high school one, I felt these are kids just like me. If it's fighting,
we can go down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I knew I'd take them. So despite how tiny I was, so it never used to bother me.
So fighting was one of your coping mechanisms.
Yes.
Okay.
Fighting.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And I was very when I'd be told to go call my mom, I was very proud to go call her.
Yes.
Because at least now they had two hands, I had two.
You had two, yes. Yeah.
But other than that, no. But I remember, due to that, they striked, and they said I was the one who
led the strike
and everything. But of course, after investigations, because the school wanted to actually expel me, and my mom was like, if you're expelling her, then we need to do investigations. And no, she's going because she's actually responsible. Yes. She's actually responsible. It was so bad that my dad actually also had to step in and everything. So they did the investigations. They realized I was even nowhere near the strike. Not even near the strike, near the group of people that did it. And the people that did it were actually caught and sent out of school. So, yeah. I would say if to look into the brighter side, when they look at things I went through in primary, as much as for a small girl, no one, or for a young kid and everything, no one would ever have to go through such. But it gave me the resilience I needed to, I feel like, survive.
So you're saying that there can be the main word here. There can be some positive
It's not even
results.
It's not even a matter of can. There is. I'll take you through. No, let me put on the therapist hat.
Yes.
When it comes to trauma,
Yep.
I feel like let's first of all define trauma. Trauma
Please.
is anything or any event that affects you emotionally, psychologically, at times physically, has a long-term effect even later on in life.
Yes.
And when you talk about traumas, in therapy, there's something we call ACEs. ACEs means adverse childhood experiences.
Okay.
So these are experiences you've had before 18 years.
Okay.
So those experiences shape a lot your personality and your adulthood and all that. So if you had any traumatic event and everything, it's more meaningful during those times. And there are different types of trauma. Acute, complex, chronic.
Yes.
So with these types of traumas, again, allow me to demystify something.
Yes.
People feel like trauma, it's only when you experience it. Like when
something has happened to me.
Yes, when something has happened to me directly.
Yes.
But again, you can also experience trauma through witnessing someone else going through something similar.
Yes.
So it can also affect you in a traumatic way. Case in point, maybe you were raised into a family whereby there was a lot of GBV happening and everything, or domestic violence and everything, and you witnessed maybe your dad or your mom beating the other. That will also affect you in a certain way. So that can also be trauma. And in these traumas, we have things we call trauma response.
Okay.
Trauma response is, for instance, now like what you're saying, my coping mechanism was fighting. Trauma response is anything that triggers your trauma.
Okay.
There's a way you respond to it.
Yes.
The common ones are fight, flight, freeze,
fawn, fold.
Yes, fold.
Depends on whatever word you use.
Yes. So for me, mine was fight. Anytime I would feel I'm threatened in a certain way and everything, I'd always square up.
You and I, sis. You and I.
Yes.
Yes.
For someone else would be freeze and whatnot. So we all have different trauma responses.
Question. Okay. Are these trauma responses consistent or do they change? Because I remember at some point I could never confront some of the things that would happen to me. And then later on now is when I picked up the fighting, where now if I feel threatened in any way, I will definitely now pick it up with you, and I'll make sure we end up in a physical fight, just so that you can know.
They're not consistent, because again, I might fight today, but tomorrow I might experience. Let me give you a traumatic experience I've had as an adult.
Yes.
I remember there's this time, and I feel like I've shared this with you before. There's this time I was in a matatu. I think I was coming from home, from town to home. Now my mom's place, I don't think I'd even moved out then. I think I was still in uni. So I'm in a matatu, and then there's a guy that's seated next to me.
Next to you, and this.
Yes, and he groped me. Normally, if you know me, I would have burnt the whole matatu.
Yes.
But to be
that
honest,
trip would have ended there, and things would have exploded into something else.
No one would have gotten to where they're going until you dealt with this.
Yeah, until we yes.
Like derezi where you're going.
Atusongi.
But I froze, literally. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know. And it's not like I was wearing anything revealing.
Yes.
I don't even know, like, in my mind, there's a lot that was running through my mind. Is this my fault? Like, what just happened? And imagine Adim Sakashuka. So normally my response would have been fight, confront, and everything. But this time I froze, literally.
Yeah.
I didn't even speak a word until I got home.
Wow.
I don't even know if I told my mom or people at home. It was very confusing. So yes, the response can be different depending on the extent of the trauma, or whatever it is that's happening,
or the
you
trigger,
know.
yeah.
Yes. And a trauma response, it's not only about what you do, or how you respond to the other person and everything. A trauma response can also be, you've ever seen these people that are telling a story of how maybe traumatic their life was and everything, and then they crack jokes, they
Yes.
laugh, so that they can. I feel like I was also doing this when we were starting, when I was telling about that.
Yes.
It's also some sort of trauma response, masking it with a joke,
yes.
or just so that people don't see the impact maybe it has on you,
Yes.
and everything.
Because I think I would do the same, just to downplay the whole
Yes.
traumatic situation. And for me, especially now, it got to a point where, like, dark jokes were the
Dark
order
humor.
of the day. Dark humor. And, and sometimes I would crack a joke and it's so dark and guys are like, people don't even know how to respond.
Yeah.
And I'm there and I've laughed my head off. Like,
I know,
I have
right?
died. I'm like, you guys don't see how funny that is.
Uh-huh.
And so it got to, it gets to a point where guys start asking you, hey, bro,
What's that?
are you okay? This isn't normal. It doesn't seem human or very humane of you to just very casually make such a joke and be okay with it. Like you didn't even flinch. You didn't even feel any part of you feeling like awkwardness about it.
Yeah.
So what are the ways? Are there ways that you can actually identify that this is a trauma response? Or is it different? Is it difficult to tell?
It's not difficult per se, but one thing you need to understand when it comes to anything that has to do with your psyche,
Yes.
is how I respond to mine is very different from how
Uh-huh.
someone else would respond and everything. So there are some little things that you can tell this person has experienced trauma before and everything, but akuna iko cut on stone that this is, because people are different. We all vary. We all respond to certain things differently.
Yes.
So, but the common ones is if someone is jumpy or over confrontational, even if maybe you didn't mean anything in a bad way or anything, but they feel that need to
Yeah.
yes, such little
Really
things. Yes.
Depend that whole aspect of.
Yeah, but the common one is just that jumpy. Something noise kidogo may happen somewhere, and then someone becomes all of a sudden startled. That means, and also you need to understand when you're talking about triggers. I normally tell people triggers. Our memory technically is stored in our sensory motors, and I feel like we've said this before.
Yes.
Taste, sound, sight, smell, etc. So maybe someone, if it's domestic violence, there was a lot of noise, there was a lot of this and
shouting,
that.
yes.
So you'll find someone is not prone to noise.
Usinishautie,
Please.
Mind
how. Yes.
Because I've seen people who, the moment you raise your voice at them like this,
it becomes something.
Yeah.
else.
They'll either fold, break down.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, and they're like, hey, it wasn't that deep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like it needs the only way you can know your responses and your triggers is by just understanding that, knowing this is a pattern to it, and all that, and and also there's this other thing called trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Yes, trauma bonding. Trauma bonding, I feel like.
But even before we get onto trauma bonding, can you guys bond with us on this channel of ours? Yeah. If you haven't subscribed yet, please just tap that button there as we go on uncovering ways to also just be very mindful and grow our mental health. So back to you again. Trauma bonding.
Yes. Trauma bonding, I feel like so many people misunderstand it or confuse it. I remember, I know this is kidogo dark. I remember there's a friend of mine that has experienced domestic violence.
Okay.
I want to say GBV, but also I feel like at times GBV is also misunderstood. So let's just call it, because she was beaten up by the boyfriend. And with time, after now the case was filed and everything, the guy got arrested.
Yes.
Her story was actually shared online. That's why I'm even having this conversation. Yes. So when her story got shared online,
yes,
it really trended a lot.
Yes.
And other girls reached out to her that had experienced the
something similar. Yes.
Something similar. And now my friend used to call her trauma bonding buddies.
Okay.
But that's not what trauma bonding is. But I get it. They had experienced something similar, and they became a friend.
They found a common.
Yes, because I feel like it was easier for them because they understood what happened.
What each other.
Yes. I think they even started a WhatsApp group or something. But yeah, most people confuse trauma bonding with that.
Okay.
But on a technical, point of view, trauma bonding is not that.
Okay.
Allow me to give examples. Let's say there's a couple, and either the boyfriend or the girlfriend is abusive. By abusive, it means either they're beating them up or something like that.
Yep.
And then after the beating, what the guy does is he goes buys flowers.
Okay.
Goes buys flowers, goes buys chocolates, and brings her. Goes, baby, I'm sorry.
So
it's the devil.
He's basically a rat.
Sorry?
He's basically a rat.
What does a rat do?
Inakuuma alafu inakupuliza.
Oh my God, I can't believe we're laughing about this.
I'm sorry.
Our trauma response is humor.
I'm sorry.
Are you traumatized?
No. I'm on my path to healing.
Yeah, so basically a rat. So he'll go bring flowers and everything. And what happens with the other partner is, you see, he's sorry. That is what trauma bonding is. So what this person starts doing is they start sympathizing with the abuser.
Okay.
And there's also a very big difference between trauma bonding and Stockholm syndrome.
Yes. Okay.
So they'll start, but it's almost the same. It's a page of the same book.
Yeah.
So they start, yes.
Okay.
So they'll start saying, Aki, you see, you don't know
you don't know him the way I know him.
You don't know him the way I know him, or you don't know her the way I know her. I know her, that's not him. Ni shetani anakwaga mwingine. And they become very defensive. He was going through something.
She was going through something.
Exactly.
They were frustrated.
Exactly. So technically, that's what trauma bonding is. You sympathize with a person that, has abused you.
So that means, so you basically start making up excuses for them.
Yeah.
And for their behavior.
Yes. And tolerating it.
Is there a point where now you more or less adapt, where this now becomes a normal for you?
Exactly. And to some extent, it reaches a point whereby you start feeling, hajanigonga mwezi mzima. Does this mean he doesn't love me? Okay. So you associate it with some sort of love.
So that's where that comes from.
Yes, that's where that comes
because the ladies who believe
in that,
if he does not, mwanaume anafaa kudiscipline, like, and I'm like,
oh God, the eye roll kidogo tanianguke because of the eye roll I just did. But unfortunately, and then also that also stems from also experiences.
Yes.
Let me give you an example. Let's say this girl grew up seeing the dad beat up the mom, the dad buy flowers and everything.
Okay.
I've mentioned this before, something to do with core beliefs.
Yes.
These are technically what we use to see life with.
The lens that we view life from.
So when the kid sees this, and then maybe the mom starts sympathizing with the dad, maybe the mom is already trauma bonded. And is like, unajua babako ananipenda, ni shetani anakuanga. So this girl grows up knowing this is what love is.
So that's what she goes seeking after. So if she finds someone,
and not intentionally per se, but this is what she actively seeks out. Okay. Men that give that aggression, men that because she knows this is what love is.
So in one of my experiences, I've dated someone who did not believe in prolonged peace. where if we've been good for a very long time, something is amiss, and they would more or less cause some form of drama just to excite things. Could that also be stemming from a trauma bond, or would it be something else that would be informing that?
So, one thing you need to understand
Yes.
about psychology and mental health, some of these things are always intertwined.
Okay.
Attachment styles.
Yes.
We use the same example of this kid that grew up seeing the mom get abused and everything, and the mom was like, "This is love" and whatnot. Of course, her attachment will be anxious,
Yes.
either anxious avoidant or anxious attachment,
Okay.
whereby peace doesn't seem like love.
Peace is not an option. Yes.
So at times, and it comes from just that anxiety
Yes.
of there are these people that what happens after a quarrel? There's always a lot of love that is shown,
yes. You have to make amends.
remorse,
Yes.
and everything. So they're not seeking out issues for the sake of that. They're seeking out
the
issues
result.
for the result of
Okay.
it, whereby
The feeling that comes
the
after.
feeling that comes after. And even if you ask them, they would tell you, "I hate arguments and everything."
I hate conflict.
But unconsciously,
And yet, if you look closely, you will realize
They
they'll tell
hate
you one thing. I hate conflict, but they are very often in conflict.
yes. And in such a situation, then a lot of reassurance would go a very long way.
So they need the validation that comes.
They need the
after.
validation. No, if you mastered and understood that, then you can also
You
give
can
the
always give
reassurance and validation
consistently
before consistently.
without
'Cause-
there being
exactly.
a need for the conflict.
Because for them,
Yes.
when this consistency is no longer there, then it means trouble, even if there's no trouble.
Okay.
You know?
Yes.
And that's why they do this. So even the fight that they're picking, it won't come off as I'm actually picking a fight. It will come off as a form of questions.
I need you to.
And
Yes.
you know, you're not doing this. Are you cheating on me? Are you doing this? Because there was that period of no validation, that was given or reassurance.
Reassurance was
So
lacking.
they're picking this up so that they can be that, baby, it's only you. I only want you. Like, you know, something, you know, to reassure them.
You're the only being in my githeri.
Yes.
Yes.
So I feel like that also stems from, yes, a trauma point, but at the same time, attachment, which are actually intertwined. No, the attachment styles and everything. And that's why you find when it comes to even attachment styles, when we're working on how to resolve your attachment styles and work on them and everything, we always go through that tracing your anxious attachment. Like, where did it start?
Yes.
So from age 1 to 10, how was that?
How was your life
age
then?
10 to Evo, so that you can know this is where my anxious attachment is coming from, my avoidant attachment is coming from, and so on and so forth.
So you mentioned Stockholm syndrome. Maybe you can just give a brief description on that, so that we can also be able to now identify where the similarities and the differences come in, so that we're not labeling one thing the other.
With the other.
Yes.
For Stockholm syndrome, I would, in layman's term, I would say maybe it's trauma bonding on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So, because you see, as much as there's that aspect of trauma bonding, eventually this person snaps out of it. It becomes too much. And
so in Stockholm syndrome, this is where now the person becomes obsessed.
Like literally obsessed with the abuser.
So this is what often gives rise to like stalkers and
yes,
that kind of thing.
Yes.
Because I realized for most of these people, on further investigation, you'll often find that there's a specific or there's a certain mental underlying problem that they're experiencing. So, okay. So how then do we now go on that path of self-discovery and now begin to undo all these things? How then do we now make sure that we are able to identify what is it? First of all, being able to identify what trauma events took place in my life that adversely affected me, and how am I reacting to them? How am I responding to them? And how then do I now begin this journey of healing and being more mindful of who I am as a person?
So normally I tell people, let me tell you what I told myself. But that I told myself this later on after I'd done psychology and everything.
Yes.
I'm not a victim.
Okay.
Of whatever that woman, I'm not. So there's I normally tell people there's a very big difference between being a survivor and being a victim.
Okay.
And this has a lot to do with your mindset.
Yes.
Now let's talk about this, about growth mindset and fixed mindset.
Yes.
Fixed mindset tells you this is who you are. There's nothing that you can do about it. This is what happened to you. Yeah. This is what the decks you dealt. That's it.
That's as far as you can play.
It's like doing an exam and then you're failing in maths and you're like, I'm not good at maths.
Yes. And it's one exam.
Exactly.
You still have another 17 or so more exams to do in your...
Exactly.
Okay.
So a growth mindset or a survivor mentality tells you, I can do X, Y, Z despite what happened to me.
Yes.
I can achieve this and that despite that one thing that happened or whatever.
So you isolate
that
particular event.
You figure out you're bigger than whatever happened.
Yes.
And the only way you can do that is going through the trauma. You cannot hide from it.
Yes.
You cannot
so you have to be
brush it under the carpet and everything. You need to hold it by the horns.
Address the elephant in the room.
Yes. You cannot talk about trauma healing without going through the trauma, reliving the trauma again. And it's one of the most painful things that you can ever experience.
Yes.
And I've also seen it through my clients. And I even tell them to brace themselves before you even do those sessions. Because now it's like it's like a wound has healed and now you're repealing it so that you can properly heal it.
Heal it, yes.
And that's the first thing.
Yes.
Facing whatever, and when you're facing this now, you're starting now to make more sense of whatever happened. Realizing that it had maybe less to do with you and more to do with whoever was doing the abusing and everything. You look at it in terms of how has this changed my worldview? How do I see things now? How different have I become from? Have I been better or worse or whatever? And now what can I do different moving forward?
Yes.
So that's the whole process of going through it,
Yes.
And another thing is working on gratitude. I normally tell people this, and I know especially when you're doing gratitude, there's this gratitude that people feel like gratitude needs to be something good that has happened for you to be grateful for it. I was listening to this TED talk and the lady was giving an example. She was saying in her family, and I know I tell this story a lot. If you've ever listened to any of my lectures about gratitude, I know this is something I've shared.
This is a familiar story.
Yes, this is a very familiar story if you listen to my talks. This lady was saying in her family, they only used to meet up Christmas to Christmas. So they had this one auntie that was the glue of the family. That was the reason as to why they were even meeting up for that Christmas. Because she'd make calls, she'd be intentional, assign people things plans. To do, make plans.
You bring this,
exactly.
You'll be cooking this.
She made sure people met up that Christmas.
Okay.
And then unfortunately, she got terminally ill. She was diagnosed by cancer. And she had like a few months to live. So, of course, the family was sad and everything. But through that, the family decided to be meeting every weekend. So instead of once a year, they started meeting every weekend. And even after her passing, the tradition kept on. So this lady was saying, as much as something bad had happened, there was still light at the end of the tunnel, which is they're now meeting more often as opposed to once. Once in a while. So when it comes to gratitude, I normally I walk people through one specific one. It's 13:5. So what you do is for 5 days.
Yes.
26, 13, 5.
26, 13, 5.
So for 5 days,
Yes.
you do 13 gratitudes.
Okay.
13 easy.
This is 13 on the daily.
On the daily. 13 on the daily.
Yes.
You have to look for 13.
Wow. Okay.
So, like I said, 26, 13, 5.
Yes.
So, for 5 days, you do 13 gratitudes.
Yes.
13 good things that have happened.
That have happened to you.
But it can be easy. So, 13 easy things and 13 hard things.
Mm-hmm.
So, 13 easy things like I'm grateful I woke up in the morning. I'm grateful I ate. I'm grateful there was no traffic. I'm grateful the weather was favorable and everything. So, there's something, in a day you'll see there's a lot to be grateful for.
Yes.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do 13 hard. Those things that only when you're
at face value,
you wouldn't say there's something good that happened, but you intentionally look for that good thing.
Yes.
So that is now one of the hardest forms of gratitude that you can ever do, because now it means you really need to sit down and pay attention to what you would have considered a shitty experience you've had. What goodness came out of it.
Okay.
And the more you practice this, the more you realize, because at times we feel, now when we go back to trauma, we feel bad things happen to us and everything. But when you do these 13 hard things to be grateful for, you realize, actually, as much as this happened, I was able to stick through it. I was able to do this and that. I came out this way and everything. So you realize something good came out of it.
So it's basically just finding the silver lining
Yes.
around every cloud.
Finding the goodness in every little thing that's happening. And that's one of the best coping mechanisms I can ever tell people to do.
And I think it's actually a very good practice, because now as you also do it consistently, then even those difficult areas of gratitude now even become a lot more simpler. You begin to now intentionally look out for the good in everything. It's the way they say you condition your mind. If you're thinking about a yellow Ferrari and you're thinking consistently, then you will,
It's actually more about restructuring your mind to focus more on the positive.
On the positive.
Because again, I've said this before, as human beings, we're wired for the negative.
For the negative.
But the more you do this, your mind starts restructuring itself to see the goodness in things. I know we were having this debate with someone the other time. I was telling them, for me, I personally don't believe in good people and bad people.
Bad people.
Let's just be. It has nothing to do with psychology per se and everything. I don't believe in good people and bad people. Because again, when you look at situations, to you I might be bad, but to someone else I might be an angel.
A hero, yes.
Sent to them.
Yes.
But does that mean... You see, so it's situational.
Okay.
And that's why I say they're not good people and they're not bad people. It's just situation.
Okay. So that is your philosophy.
And for me personally, I believe in just joyful and miserable people. In the sense that if you squeeze a lemon, it won't give you orange juice.
Yes.
It will give you lemon
juice.
If you squeeze an orange, it will give you
orange juice.
So it's more of what's within us.
What's within.
So if I've learned to deal with the demons within me, it doesn't matter what situation I'm put in. Whatever will come out will be bearable. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes. So regardless of, so basically what you're saying is, regardless of what we're going through, the way we are created is that our solutions come from within.
Yes.
The solutions to our problems stem from within. So it starts from the inside out.
Yes.
So you do the inner work and sort out yourself, and then you're able to, you're better placed to actually realize a solution to whatever it is that you're facing.
Exactly. I have a friend who constantly insists on loving yourself, like feeding that in you first.
Yeah.
You've had the story and the narrative of the two wolves that live within us.
Yes.
And whichever wolf you feed, that's the wolf you become.
Okay.
That's technically it. If you focus more on the negative, you'll become negative
the big
and
bad
a bitter.
wolf.
Yes, and a bitter person. If you focus more on the positive, it doesn't matter what you go through in life. Whatever will always come out is that positive.
Is that positive? Interesting. So on our dilemma this week, I think it's almost along the lines of you being bullied, but now this is teacher to parent.
Some teachers need to style.
Heal. Nassim, we're healing.
Yes, I'm still healing. If I wasn't healing, I would have said, I would
You'd
have called out
mentioned her
and said,
name.
Mrs. Mboro, style up.
But you have not mentioned
I'm
Mrs.
not
Mboro.
used to, we're still healing.
Yes. So I saw a story. There's this kid, they're in school. Parents has done everything they can. Paid fees, everything that is needed to be paid. At the school trip, everything. Transport. They paid everything. Extracurricular to make sure that you have created an appropriate environment for your child to learn holistically. So, also, like with traffic and everything, you'd want to find a workable solution for. So on multiple occasions, they've had challenges with the school transport, where transport has broken down maybe along the way, communication has not been sent, they have not come to a workable alternative, like maybe send another vehicle to come and pick this kid. So the lady goes ahead to raise the issue on the WhatsApp group. Tell me why the owner of the school, first of all, someone said to to caution her against speaking negatively on the WhatsApp group and
influencing the other parents.
And tarnishing the name of the school, and how many times has this happened, and she actually produced receipts. This is not a one-time event. This is something that has
meaning for her to post it to a group.
Yes,
it was
something that has recurred. So how she thinks, hey, so we've discussed this, we've sorted it out. Why does this school owner go ahead to find out, because the husband is not on the WhatsApp group, to find out his contact and call him to report that, Mr. Mans, your wife is misbehaving.
Tame your woman.
Yes.
Literally.
Your wife is misbehaving on the school WhatsApp group. Please, both of you need to show up.
Show up where?
To my office, because I will not entertain such uncouth behavior.
So the parents are uncouth, not the school?
For me, as a parent, I was triggered. I'm sorry. I was triggered. This is acute trauma.
You're learning. Nilipe fees after this.
You will see me. I will link you to my what's it called? Home to accounts. Yes. He will do that thing.
I feel communication goes a long way.
Yes.
And if you're running an institution like a school,
yes,
whereby you're dealing with not only students, you're dealing with the parents, and whatnot, and so on and so forth, communications need to be at top notch. Because you can imagine, we uko home, unaexpect mtoto wako afike kwa nyumba either 3 p.m. ama 4 p.m. Gari imeandika haribikia kwenye imeharibikia. No one is communicating to tell you where your kids are. You remember, it's also a similar thing. When during, I think it was either during the Mandamano or something,
yes,
where certain high schools would send off kids at night.
At night, yes.
So kama mtu yeye anasomea Western ama Meru ama whatever,
you figure out,
unasikia watoto wamekwa kwa basi, wamekuja nyumbani, uende wapik kwa stage at this and that time.
At this and this hour, yes.
With, there's no constant communication and everything. And these are kids. Of course, parents will get worried and everything. So it's also giving a similar situation like that. But now for this one, the school owners felt, they were, I don't know, either they felt they were dealing with kids. Unani someone mimi kama mzazi mwenye nakulipa who take better care of my kids when I'm not, if they're not with me, they're with you.
They're with you. So this is a shared responsibility. And by the time you agreed,
So how was it resolved? I'm really curious.
First of all, Wejua, your WhatsApp group wali change settings to admin only.
The school.
Yes.
Na si wazazi watengeneza WhatsApp group yao.
Exactly.
Na waandamane. Kwanza
let me just tell you.
Maandamano.
Mimi, I'm sorry, but personally, even as a man, because now the husband was calling the wife.
Because the audacity.
The husband was calling the wife like, hey, babe, what's going on?
Rada, unachome.
Hey, because him is not aware. He's like, what's happening? Mbona napigia hapa hivi naambiwa una.
Kwanza mimi nikasikia mmepigia bwanangu. Unapigia as who?
And I'm thinking, me first of all,
and for what
before
reason?
anything else, just know I am picking my wife's side.
As you should.
I am picking my wife's. Let me tell you, the violence that will come to that school. Bro.
Bro, just in case.
Hiyo siku kwanza mtu wangu aende shule.
Asione
traumatized. Akae home. Wacha atapigiwa story. Because I will.
What nonsense. And I'm assuming it's a private school. One of these two small private schools.
Yes.
Emphasis on the small private schools.
Yes.
Oh, no,
because what in the entitlement is that?
Yeah, not for me. And this
you're trying to protect a reputation that you have not even built.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're running an institution and you know very well you need to answer to certain people other than just the board, then the channel of communication should. Because in kitu racing get resolved now, we've been having troubles with our buses and everything. Yes. For now, parents can come for their kids as we resolve historia.
Because apparently, mwenye shule anasema, this was a one-time event, and you didn't need to, and you should not be speaking like that. And among the comments, there was a comment I really liked. There's someone who commented and said, the moment I am paying fees, I automatically become a shareholder in that school.
You know, I almost said something, then I remembered we are on a healing journey. I wanted to ask, and this is not what I stand for.
Yes.
But I wanted
Disclaimer.
to ask, disclaimer, this is not what I stand for.
Okay.
I'm a very changed person.
The views expressed
are
not reflective of Hug's organization or
Nassim.
Nassim.
But I wanted to ask, what happened to parents beating teachers? Nothing just ended. Like, team. But like I said,
I'm a changed man as well.
This is because I remember Kitama in the olden days. A parent would show up na nyaunyo in school to figure out what is happening.
Yes.
Because what nonsense is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, this was a thought that someone behind here has thrown at me.
Your smaller wolf was.
But yeah, I feel like people need to take accountability.
Yes.
And if you know you're responsible for,
because
learn how to take accountability.
Because in the same way, so if I chose to be dropping my kids in school, and school starts at 8, maybe kids are expected to be there by 7:50. Na nilete mtoto 10 and I say nothing to you. Then
samefika shule.
Especially
if these are people that run schools,
it's okay. They're running schools where people learn. Usiguze murima.
So yes, I feel like these are people that are teaching our kids. So you're not teaching our kids accountability too, if you yourself can be accountable. Because it's the only big deal. Shule tu ingesema basi zetu zimekuwa ziki
we've been experiencing this and these challenges
for just 1 week. Leteni watoto wenu shule.
Yeah, or you can even say
ongezeni pesa tutengeneze basi ama tununue basi ingine.
Yes.
But so now this thing, because maybe
you say our buses have experienced some mechanical difficulties,
which happens.
We are forced to now seek an external provider, so it will cost you
an X amount. If you feel like this X amount is too much, drop your kids in the meantime as we sort out XYZ.
Yes.
As simple as that. Bisa mimi kutonye mi spendi masnitch. Hii point unaenda hadi unapigia bwanangu simu na kuja kumwambia sijui yefinye. Kama nani? Na hiyo namba ulitoa wapi?
Who gave you the permission?
Huyo mwenye alikupatia hiyo namba na wewe mtaniambia.
Yeah.
Yo, wataka kuharibu familia.
Because now if mimi mzazi,
That is bad.
if mimi mzazi mnanitreat hivi,
Na mtoto wangu je?
sembuse
I
my
had
child,
not even thought of that. They need to do better.
I know, please.
I hope
Yeah.
wazazi walikasirika na
I hope
wakaform
so.
group yao.
I need to follow up.
I'm
on
not a
this too.
parent yet, but I feel like these are those little things that would really
I'm
trigger because
triggered.
for me,
I'm triggered.
Yo.
Yeah. But I know, in my current state, I would not act like very rash. I would actually assess the situation. I would approach the situation in a very civil manner, and perhaps should the situation escalate, I will not be held responsible for how I respond to
vile
it.
inafaa.
Yeah.
Me wouldn't even hold it against you or anything because anyway, violence is not the
Violence
answer.
is not the answer.
There's
There's always room for discourse. There's always room for discourse.
Yeah.
But mujue,
Maybe
mtayarishe tu, I will count the days that my child has studied. I will tell you, e-balance, please, I expect you to credit it to my account within maybe the next 14 business days or 30.
It has been nice
30
dealing
calendar
with
days.
you.
It has been nice dealing with you. Let me
Asante
find.
sana.
Yes, let me find
With a nice handshake.
a better institution for my child, because
Yeah.
clearly, if you cannot extend the same amount of responsibility I take for my children at home, yeah,
Because if this is how they're treating
If
the
this is how
parents,
you-
if
yeah.
that's exactly like what you said.
I cannot trust you
Yeah.
to take care of my child.
Anyway.
I cannot, because then the next time something more grave will happen, you will mtajitoa kwa hiyo responsibility, and then I'm the one who will be left with the burden of my child. Nyinyi mta move on, you will admit other children to your school, and life will go on. I'm the one who will be left with that empty void in my heart.
I know this.
So hapo kwa hiyo WhatsApp group ya other parents naambia tu mimi vile nimeona, mimi personally as Ollilo, I am pulling out my child because I feel like my child is not safe in this. Nyinyi mkitaka kuacha watoto wenu
Wateseke, no insist wateseke.
Si mimi.
Yes. Do you have a did you know? I can give you one.
Please give me one.
Did you know? Let me even face the camera. Did you know?
Yes.
That violence don't resolve anything. I felt I needed to say that. I feel like this whole conversation of today
is very
been
triggering.
about throwing hands and very
Yeah.
triggering about that. But honestly, it never resolves anything. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So once again, thank you very much. We've explored the depths of our mind. Let's carry on that exploration to our daily lives. You know, as we always say, a healthy mind
is your greatest treasure.
Thank you.
Treasure. Ta, ta, ta.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.